look who's back at it again. I think it's time to dive into the world of fan theories. This time around I want to go over a theory I've had for a while now, and you'll never guess. It's a Megaman X one. Yeah, I know, big surprise. But come on, those games are packed full of untold stories, and the traditional gameplay method of those games does a terrible job at exploring the world of 21XX. Just look at Bubble Crab's level. There's an underwater colony back there. Like, look at that. I want to go there and explore that. Forget Bubble Crab and his stupid submarine that isn't even worth one-shotting. Let's go over there and check that out. So, it shouldn't come as any surprise that people tend to fill in the gaps for these games. And I'm one of them, so hear me out. What if Zero wasn't real the whole time? Let me preface with this. In X1, Zero died in the Vile fight, right? Then the credits said that those who died wouldn't return. So I'm going to make an honest man out of Keiji Inafune. Zero did die. And the version you met in X2 and onward was a copy Zero all along. Which, wouldn't that make sense? The Zero you met in X1 was a chill dude that was confident and strong. The Zero you got to know in X4 was confused, kinda weak, and misguided. Especially in X5 when he was going all emo. Like, look at this line from the beginning. Even X was like, dude, chill. He was kind of a mess of a character and they tried to cover it up with all that mystery. A little too much mystery. Maybe he had something to hide, like the fact he wasn't the real Zero. Like, real talk, did anyone even think about how he got rebuilt in X2? You got his parts from the X-Hunters, your enemies. In what world would anyone think that's safe? Man, I totally hope that Zero is fine after we rebuilt him from the parts we got from them X-Hunters, who fixed him and upgraded him? Huh. Nah, he'll be fine. I'm pretty sure if X had more than 4 lines in the first 2 games, he would have had way more questions about what was going on. But now you get the idea, so let's dive into this topic some more. So Zero died in the first game, but came back in the second game. And there are 2 ways to get him back in X2. One way is you get all of his parts back and he shows up at the end to destroy the other copy Zero. The other way is when you 1v1 him and beat him, and then he helps you get to the final fight. I'm pretty sure the ending where you don't fight Zero is the canon one, only because you see it in the opening scene of X5. But my headcanon is that you fought Zero. Surges, who is totally wily, rebuilt Zero. And because you can't really replicate the personalities of the Wily and Light numbers, he was a completely different person. And so the Zero we had for the rest of the series went on to have an identity crisis. Was he really a hero or a villain? Not a Zero. And if you noticed, Sigma started to have an obsession over Zero, like a lot. Bro, he even told you he doesn't like you. Anyway, so Sigma told Zero that he was destined to follow him. Even used him to release the Maverick virus on the whole planet. I can't help but think the same cool guy you met in the first game would never do any of that. Keiji Inafune even said that Zero is a cool guy and totally wasn't responsible for the deaths of the original Mega Man characters. So doesn't that contradict the whole scene we got from X4 where Zero was a psycho? Or maybe the guy who told us the story, Sigma, was lying. You know, like a villain does? He could have made that story up to mess with Zero so he can manipulate him later. Which, if the Zero we knew in the later games was a copy, it would make sense why he would turn on X in X5. Check out this line from X5 when X understands this isn't Zero. I think X knew all along, and when he had to accept the truth, he didn't hesitate to fight Zero. And so, they remained frenemies, until the fake Zero became Omega in the Mega Man Zero series and became the instrument of destruction. But what about the real Zero? Well, I think he was brought back in the Zero series, when Seal found him all jacked up on some life support machine. Which, I know the art style of the Zero series is a stylistic choice made by a different company, but I think it makes more sense that the original Zero's body was rebuilt and kinda looked different. But what about Omega looking like him? Oh wow, just call me out, why don't you? Alright, Omega looked like him because he copied Zero's look after his giant body was destroyed. Bosses are able to change their looks on the fly because they are evil and always need new forms. And if you wanted proof this was the real Zero, then check this out. What? The same theme song? Whoa, crazy. Doesn't it make more sense that this Zero from the Zero series would be the real deal? He's a cool guy that helps others and has a bunch of memory issues, kind of like he missed out on a lot. And X in the Zero series seems to know a little too much about Omega, kind of like he's done putting up with that guy's crap. Eventually I'll talk about how the Zero series is a perfect ripoff of the X series, but for now let's fill in any other plot holes that my theory might have. Like, what about the dream Zero had? Those could have been fake memories planted in Zero's head by Surges, and it goes against the Wily we know. Wily doesn't want to kill Light, but he does want to prove that he's better than him. But Wily does hate Light's creations, so that isn't beyond him to destroy those. Even in the Megaman Archie comics, Wily was pissed Eggman tried to kill Light, so I don't think Wily would order Zero to destroy him. But what about the Maverick virus that was in the capsule with Zero when he was found and Sigma got infected? Oh, someone did their homework? You got me. Clearly I didn't think this one through. Or the virus was in the capsule and did infect Sigma, but it couldn't infect the original Zero, like how it couldn't infect X either. So once again, Sigma is lying, and made it his goal to use Copy Zero made by Surges to make the Maverick virus worse. Now get this. You know how the story always teased that Wily was there in the X series? There was Surges, the heavily implied influence Wily had in X5, and Isoc from X6 who knows Zero inside and out. What if the Maverick virus was sentient and became like an AI and assumed the identity of Wily? Which would explain the obsession Sigma, aka the virus, had with Zero. It saw him as the ultimate replicant and went to great lengths to turn Zero evil and make him grow stronger to prove he was stronger than Light's creations. It would also explain why we never saw Wily in the X series even though they teased he was always there, like he was going to jump out from any corner at any time. Like now. No? Okay, how about now? Okay, Wily's gotta be that guy, right? No? Again? And so it makes sense that Wily wasn't there and the Maverick virus was impersonating him the whole time. And the virus was trying to make Zero its perfect vessel to become the instrument of destruction, until X used the Mother Elf and erased the virus, and Omega and Wile were banished to space. And there you have it, my fan theory for Zero and Mega Man X. The character was so edgy and mysterious, and from what I could tell, the original guy you met in X1 wasn't like that at all. He was a cool character who was willing to die for his friend, and when he did die, he was reborn 100 years later. Which, from that perspective, the Zero series hits a little different. Zero is completely unaware of everything that happened since X1. You know, I think I'll keep that as my headcanon. It's kind of a trope now to have the main character lose their memories and then drop them right in the middle of a plot and then make them catch up. But in this situation, you have a legitimate reason the hero has no memory because he wasn't there. Of course he's going to feel inadequate and weak, not to mention he's going to suffer imposter syndrome the whole time. But he possesses the heart of the real Zero, and that proved he was never the war machine Sigma, Wile, or the virus said he was. Anyway, thanks for hearing me out on this one. These stories tend to have a lot of plot holes, and I think it's time to start filling them in. I also have a theory for what happened between the Mega Man and X series. Hopefully I can share that with you guys sooner than later. Anyways, thanks for stopping by. Until next time.